Hello, friends. In my last short video, I talked about Franklin Marlowe Wolf's American mystic and philosopher's relationship of substantialness being inversely proportional to something ponderable. So a bottle of Coca-Cola is very ponderable, but it's not particularly substantial. And I spoke about what is truly substantial, which is consciousness and gratitude and love and forgiveness and trust. And I spoke about that whereas you can go to university, in fact, all of education as we do it in the West today, conventional education, is for teaching what is ponderable: mathematics, language, becoming a doctor, a lawyer, what you have to learn for these things. But there is no curriculum in Western education, in traditional education anywhere, that is really about what is substantial. Again, consciousness itself. Not just the consciousness of me, the consciousness of the ego, but the capacity to become aware of our egos and outgrow our egos and become in that way carriers of love, people that experience true gratitude and joy. And so the question becomes, what is a curriculum for that which is most substantial? And of course, that takes us to what has been called spirituality, or spiritual education. And sadly, for me at least, these shouldn't be divided. I understand the necessity for the division of church and state, as the United States Constitution, for example, has established. It's because churches became ends in themselves. Religions became form of identity. They punished people, they inculcated people, they trapped people. And to govern, we wanted the ability for, at least in democracies, for people to be able to participate in that democracy independent of their religion. So religion is one thing, but the education of what is most substantial, the education of love, for example, that's not a left brain education. That's not something where you can take a textbook, read it, study it, memorize it, learn to apply it in those ways, take an examination and get a grade. You can't get a grade for love. You're either loving or you're not. You're either self-involved, therefore not loving, or you're not interested in yourself and love is more important to you. The curriculum for that requires self-awareness, deep capacity for self-reflection. Obviously, instinctually, we love our children. But the trouble is we love our children and then go to war and kill other people's children. So that it's a very personalized, it's a limited kind of love. The love that I'm talking about, the love that's truly substantial, that brings us so close to the experience of consciousness itself, that love digests everything in us that doesn't allow our heart to awaken, the awakening heart of love, the being of love. And for that, we need practice to observe ourselves. We need to consecrate ourselves, to have a sense that why we're here is not just to become good human beings, but to love love itself, to make love the pole star, as I've talked about in other recordings, that guides us. Love becomes the third consciousness. You're in a relationship and you don't say, what do I want? You say, what does love want? What does this relationship with someone I love, a relationship consecrated to love, what does it want? And then you need to practice observing yourself. The way you learn about your essential, fundamental, most substantial self is to get to know your little self, get to know the self-important you, the self-justifying you, the self-protective you. So, but if you see it and then judge it, then you're just caught in a loop of self-involvement. If you see yourself and then you want to be different, you're caught in a loop of self-involvement. We have to learn to see through the eyes of love. We have to learn to see with compassion. And for that, we need to be reminded again and again of those values. But also, we need to be in the presence of people who have moved a little further. We need a community of people who are consecrated to love. We need individuals who have deeply surrendered self-importance to become instruments and carriers of love, and specific practices as well. When we chant and sing and allow poetry to speak to our love of nature, and we sing that love of nature, then we experience oneness with nature. When we allow poetry to acknowledge people that we feel have gifted us or gifted life, the great souls, the great saints, the great teachers, and we sing our appreciation of what they've journeyed and brought to us, then we become closer and closer to them through the singing. If we just read it in a textbook about what's Buddhism or what was Jesus' teaching, or then the left brain gets interested in the conceptual nature of things. But love isn't taught conceptually. Forgiveness isn't taught conceptually. If you want to experience forgiveness, not only do you have to have a deep understanding of how human minds work, how people get lost in separateness, how they defend their identity, and in so doing create so much conflict. If you want to have forgiveness, you have to enter an entirely different state of consciousness. You have to see yourself through new eyes, and as you see yourself and feel yourself through new eyes and with the awakening heart, you begin to look at the world, and you look at your life, and you look at your mother and your father and other people, and you begin to understand, without me being able to explain some form of rationalization, such as, well, they did their best, or they were the victims of their childhoods, or all of which is true at one level, but it doesn't actually lead to forgiveness. It leads to a certain kind of conceptual understanding. But really, for forgiveness, you have to go to a place where suddenly who you are is so changed, and instantly your past is changed. And the power of the past is no longer a limitation on you, and things are forgiven. That doesn't mean the behaviors, the abuses, the things that people did, it's not that that behavior is ever forgiven in the sense of condoned. It's that you no longer are the victim of any form of identification with what happened to you. And you look back at the people, and you know that what they did may have been wrong. You know also maybe what they did was the best they could do. But you really do know, deep in yourself, through chanting, through poetry, through diving deep into your body, through journeying into yourself, deeper and deeper, suddenly there's a new you, and with you there is a new past. And when there is a new past for the first time, there is a new potential for the future. Because for the ego, there is no future. There's only the ability to imagine a better past, that is to imagine what you've already lived, past, and imagine it in a better way in the future. That's the story of automobiles. From a travois being pulled, two sticks wrapped together at the end and pulled, to a travois being pulled by an animal, to the wheel, to a back carts being pulled by people, carts being pulled by animals, to carriages, ultimately to an automobile. These are just better and better and better pasts, with certain technological invention along the way that never existed before, but it's allowing this better past. But even if you're in a car or you're in a carriage, where is your heart? The better future, the better past, that is, the better past or the worse past, isn't all that important until there's love, until there's forgiveness, until there's trust. And it's only when you land in yourself and you rewrite your own history in your heart that you now have a new future, a true future. And so the curriculum that brings us to consciousness and love and forgiveness, compassion, and trust, that's the curriculum that actually gives us a true new future. We're not going to have a new future because we can go to Mars and find a way to survive there. That's just going to be a technological application of the left brain to allow us to live in a place that will never, ever, ever have the majesty and beauty and wonderment and complexity of this magnificent planet. So the curriculum is singing and prayer and meditation and self-examination and contemplation, and it shouldn't be thought of as spiritual. It should be thought of thought of as how do you give the gift of the most substantial to yourself and through yourself as the gift to everyone else. It happens in ashrams. It's the work that I do. It's the work that my 10-day retreats and other gatherings and mentoring program is all about. It's creating a curriculum for a true new future. It's creating a curriculum for what's most substantial. Nope, it's not going to teach you how to learn languages or do mathematics or apply certain concepts to be more effective in business, make you more money. Of course, it will actually give you the true wealth of an awakened heart, the true wealth of abiding joy, of inner peace. That's the real wealth. That is what comes from what is most substantial. So don't wait with your life. You can't go back to school. You can't take another training for business and expect it to actually bring you to something substantial. It will, I mean, in our world of necessity, yes, of course, we have to make some money. We have to have those things. But don't confuse what you do for necessity for what you do for your heart. I know you don't. I know you don't, because that's why we're probably listening to each other now. Me to you in an imagined sense, and you to me through this gift of technology, a better way of communicating than before. Blessings and thank you. For more than 40 years, I've been developing a curriculum for teaching that which is the most substantial, consciousness. And through consciousness, our capacity to undress, digest the parts of ourselves that become obstacles to our capacity to love. If you're serious on a journey of consciousness, you have to take time. You have to get away. And every summer I offer a 10-day retreat. We call it Radical Aliveness, meaning coming to the root or core of aliveness within yourself. It's a journey that will connect you in your body to parts of yourselves that awaken. As you get closer and closer to yourself, you get closer and closer to Source. As you get closer and closer to Source, you discover the very nature of Source is love. And that love is transformative. It changes your body. It's healing. It changes the past. It implicitly delivers a quality of forgiveness. It gives you, for the first time, a true future, not just an attempt to have a better version of the life you've known. It gives you new potential. But you have to give that gift to yourself by taking the time. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. It's not just a one-of. You get it, this experience, and you feel good. You learn. You get practices. You learn a methodology, a way of being present, of presencing. You learn to differentiate what your left brain is telling you and the kind of rationality that it's based on that starts often with feelings of inadequacy or not good enough or competitiveness and separateness. You learn to differentiate what your left brain does and your right brain, which is moving you toward oneness and interconnectedness and wholeness. This is the metaphor of neuroscience today. You really learn in the older metaphors how to come to the awakened heart, how to come out of the head into the heart, so the heart leads your head instead of your head leading your heart. It's when the head leads the heart that we experience unhappiness and jealousy and envy and resentment and anger. All of those, what we call negative emotions, are thought-related. They're created by beliefs. They're created by thoughts. And the beliefs themselves are founded on nothing. They're founded on feelings you haven't learned how to hold and make peace with. So the 10-day retreat teaches you how to deal with these really difficult feelings. And it teaches you how to understand your mind. It gives you the tools. It puts you on the path. And what you discover is that the gift of spirit is actually who you are. You are the gift. And then from that, you go out into the world as a gift, and it changes your relationship to your family. It changes your relationship to your community. It changes how you function within your career. it's profound, profound work, and it's not linked to a tradition. You don't have to join a religion. You're not my disciples. I don't have disciples. I just have people I celebrate this adventure with. So if you're ready, and I know so many people are ready, and if you're willing, readiness and willingness are mysteries and miracles, then join me. And I'll be working with my companion, Kathy. There will be a wonderful feminine presence, also the wonderful energy of Lucy Nero, our interpreter, and her giftedness with working with movement in the body, and a team of other people, all familiar with the work, that just bring so much dedication to it. So you're going to be supported, you're going to be surrounded by love, but you're also going to be surrounded by a presence and a field that will be how you learn to learn in yourself. And the experiences are extraordinary. It is a curriculum for awakening the heart. It's a curriculum for liberation. So think about that and make space for it, because you have to make space. They have to get away. You have to take time. You have to devote special time to this kind of work. You really must, if you're serious. And I look forward to being with you. Again, that's this summer in August, from Sunday the 12th of August to Wednesday the 22nd of August. In central France, at a place called Domaine du Fang, out in the middle of lots of open farmland and forest. Very nourishing. I look forward to celebrating with you.